It's not live.
No, we're showing a video. It is live, but you are good.
course you want to be a champion. Of course you want to be working towards winning titles.
Be happy, but never satisfied.
Better than ever.
Welcome back, Ultimate fans. Day 2 of the Canadian Ultimate Championships 2023 edition here at the juniors phase of the tournament. We are on the B Ultimate and Discraft Showcase field, our sponsors for this tournament, with a matchup in our open division between Team Manitoba and Quebec's Origine. We're located today in Surrey, BC, on the Newton Sports Complex. And these lands traditionally have been part of the Semiahmoo, Katzie, Kwantlen, Kwekwetlam, Kaikite, and Tsawwassen First Nations. It's beautiful here. It always is. Today, the wind has sort of died down from yesterday, but it's still very hot. Danny, we came off a pretty exciting call last night with Vortex and Team Manitoba in our women's division. How do you think this one's going to play out?
Well, we just had the pleasure and the privilege to be able to just watch these two teams play in the last round, and they're both coming off of universe point games. So this pool is wacky. So I expect this game is going to be exciting, electric, all of those things that you know to come and love about Juniors Ultimate.
Yeah, I have so many notes. So I got the privilege to go watch in that the defense. Origine winning their previous game on Universe against Ignite. They were in a tie. The score was 10-10, and during a timeout, the hard cap went, and they started on offense off of that timeout on their own end zone line, and after a few back and forths, were able to score, while Team Manitoba was able to have a hold and a break to force Universe, but Vortex pulled out the win.
Now, coming into this game, both these teams have very different experiences from their first game. And so the first couple points are really going to be telling about what kind of energy they're able to bring. Whether you just come off of a universe point win or you just had a devastating universe point loss, time will tell.
So Origine demonstrated in the first game, as I got to watch, a very quick movement with the disc. Really willing to take whatever they could give them. I spoke to one of the Ignite coaches, and he was saying that no matter what, Origine was just willing to take what they were given. So some really fast movement. Breton with the disc right now, and he's got Goulet as a dump, who has been just everywhere today. Really quick jab steps. And I'm going to have my eye on number 31, Andy Giroux, who has been a big playmaker. Goulet sets up for a huck to Chandonnet. And some pressure from Team Manitoba. It looks like there could be a call.
A bit of contact on the back as that player was going up for the disc.
That was Nahal Daya going up.
Looking like it's uncontested.
Uncontested foul. That'll come back to the front of the end zone, as it wasn't actually a catch that was knocked out of any hands. And that pass, while it seemed like it might be sailing too deep, kept in. Everybody waiting for the signal from our observers to see that back line. But Origine able to get that first hold and get the game underway rather smoothly.
Now, this Origin team is very exciting. They're a new program. They were started in 2018 and then didn't compete for a couple years. I think they finished near the bottom in that year. And I think Quebec Ultimate specifically during the pandemic has been doing a really great job of continuing to develop their juniors. And they play a lot of small-sided Ultimate, and you're kind of seeing it pay off here. So last year, Origine was able to go to nationals, and they ended up finishing third. So to go from like 20th to third with some years off in between, incredible.
Absolutely incredible to make that sort of progress so quickly. Papa Dimitriou with the goal for Origine. Now, like I was saying earlier, typically last night we viewed as the left side end zone from our perspective was harder to score on, but it seems the conditions the conditions haven't been playing a part at all today. And so far what I've seen from Origine earlier in the tournament is just a hard match defense. I did notice, I'm really curious to see, Danny, if they do it here, but they tend to line up behind their checks, almost taking the deeps away off the get-go, especially when the disc hit, like if it's a good pull getting past the brick or anything, really trying to stop any huck plays off the gun here.
It doesn't surprise me when you're playing against a team like Manitoba that really likes to boost it deep and use their size. So it's a good strategy.
Manitoba lining up in a horizontal offense. They run a super tree to Peterson. Peterson, who did heavy work in that first game. Off the hands of Van Katesmy.
Bit of nerves there, potentially.
Lamarois looking for options. Elects to go deep. 4 Manitoba players in the area. Danny, I feel like there's going to be a discussion here.
Those ones are unfortunate because I think that disc was probably going to sail past the hands of the receiver, and the contact is going to make potentially the disc go back to Origine.
It's quite difficult for any player in Valois, on this case, number 22 on Origine. If you get hit from behind and in the side of the head, which is kind of signaling any sort of contact at that point, you're thinking to yourself as a player, well, I'm going to say something.
Yes, and that's definitely non-minor contact. We talked about this on the stream yesterday, but if you have to create non-minor contact with a human being in order to get to the disc, that is going to likely either result in a foul or even a dangerous play at times. I'm not saying that this one specifically was a dangerous play, but those are some options.
So Howes and Raichura with Manitoba involved in the discussion with Valois. And it is a contested foul, so that will come back. To Lamarois, with Peterson on the mark, getting the count from our observers. Interesting seeing kind of a horizontal, maybe now starting to flow into a vertical in the red zone close to the end zone. Very typical offense for most teams to run a vertical in the end zone. But Origine just content to show they're going to go for what is ever available. Marois showing that he's a pivot player at this point, getting the disc back. Calm resets. He tries to sneak that one in, but Howes is there, seeing that come right off of his hands immediately. Pollitt finds Van Contesme. He's looking for a reset. Howes comes around to the break side. Neufeld trying to direct a few cuts. Finds a reset to Raichura. Raichura not seeing any initiating cuts. Goes back to Neufeld, who puts it up to a wide open Peterson, and I know he's wide open, but I'm also looking at the pick call happening down the field. This throw will not count if he throws it.
That was a really nice weight on that throw. It allowed the receiver to have lots of time to make sure that they were all alone, but maybe too alone.
Perhaps too alone. You always have to wonder, how did he get so open? Oh, it was a pick.
I do like that initial inside out shot from, I believe it was Raichura, through to this side, which allowed that throw to kind of come off. That's a really tough throw. There is some wind here today, so all of these kind of nice touch throws up into the air are a little bit more difficult than normal.
It seems the wind knows when we're streaming.
Imagine that.
Yeah,
we are kind of in
just picking
the
up.
swirl zone over here in the stadium.
That's true. Neufeld with a miscommunication, but how's the great bid to save that possession? Finds a reset to Raichura. To Pollitt. Round to Peterson. Raichura with the quick jab step to force that reset. He has a little give-go action with Peterson. This was a common theme in their last game. Raichura and Peterson working together, and Pollitt showing his speed. Peterson with the athletic jump. So first hold for Team Manitoba. Hey, Danny, you might be able to tell by the sounds that the Team Manitoba crowd is in the bleachers.
Yeah, Manitoba always has the best fans. Like, they have to travel quite far to get here, and they're very dedicated. I think in Manitoba, you also have a lot of ultimate families, more so than I would say in Vancouver, for example. So if your brother or your sister plays, you're probably going to be playing too. So a lot of these Team Manitoba players have siblings on the women's team from Manitoba as well. And these names you've heard over and over again. Maybe their parents have even played back in the day as well.
So Manitoba fans, if you're there in the bleachers listening to us right now, one note for you, more cowbell.
And create more children because they're good at Frisbee.
All right, so 1-1, 2 holds so far. We saw a few miscommunications from Team Manitoba there, but
A bit of double cutting, yeah.
a bit of double cutting, but showing some athleticism to keep it alive.
Now, what I'm liking from this Origine offense, especially like in the first point, we actually got to see it. And I know we saw it kind of near the end zone as well, but they kind of run more of a fluid style, like a hex style. So if you see them kind of set up in a different formation than you're used to, it's likely because of that. So oftentimes the person that they've just thrown to is the one that they're going to be looking back to right away.
Goulet picking up. Directing traffic. Finds Papa Dimitriou.
Pick is called on the field.
So that'll go back to Breton. While Roberge and Marshall figure it out. The disc is tapped in. Giroux looks to get it right back and swings it to the break side, finding Breton. Goulet. Wide open field to Giroux. Interesting to see how Origine's willing to leave the dump or reset quite far away so that a cut can come down from the middle for a reset. Giroux lines up hammer, thinks about it. Goes to reset to Breton. They get some give-go action going right at the doorstep now. Breton's pass just sails past Papa Dimitriou. And Siddiqui is there to make the play, and it looks like we have a cramp. So we'll just wait for that to resolve itself.
It's day one.
Yeah. It's hot.
They're not allowed to cramp yet. Somebody get some bananas out here, stat. Now, it is hot, and I am joking, but cramps are very common, especially in juniors ultimate. I feel like as an adult player, you've gone through all these experiences cramping and getting injured, so you know how to, you know, the secret sauce that it takes for you to be able to make it through a tournament. Juniors are just learning.
So when our families tell us to drink a lot of water,
not just water, not just water. It's important that you have Gatorade, you need salt, sugar, potassium, all of that good stuff.
Siddiqui finds Wong. to Marshall. Marshall will put it up. That hot low. And with that edge, quickly hits the ground. So Origine will get this back to try and make a hold here. As Goulet takes his time to go pick up. A smart thing to do is he has 20 seconds to bring the disc back in after it's gone out of bounds. So gives his team time to set up. Giroux takes off. Goulet likes it. Puts up a big break backhand huck.
Wow.
And a reaching behind himself grab. Incredible. Finds a reset to Breton. Giroux now. That looks like there was a hand. Maybe knocked that pass a little bit. So Raichur is able to pick up. Flips it to Siddiqui. They work together. Wide open Bohm on the field. Goes back to Raichur. Reset's not really being marked by Origine right now, so Bohm will get it back. Team Manitoba looking sort of deep in their offense right now. But now finding some room in the middle. Siddiqui to Coria. Siddiqui looking for an option. Raichur on the sideline. He doesn't like the up line, elects to go back to the middle. Oh, a great effort by Wong there. Raichur, I heard him groan as he threw that. He knew it was not the pass he wanted to throw. But it looks like Wong is going to need a second.
That was a pretty big bid.
That was a pretty big bid. I mean, that sort of energy, you love to see that. You know, when that disc goes up, Raichur knew it wasn't the pass he wanted to throw. Wong don't care.
Yeah.
He's just going to go get it. That's the attitude you need to have out of your players.
Like, it just shows what kind of teammate you are too, that you're trying to have your teammates back as well. They did look off a couple open break throws earlier in that end zone set, which, I mean, it's a strategy.
So Peterson will come in for Wong, who's been very strong today. Goulet finds a reset. Chaldonnet. Breton. No resets behind him, but still quite interesting. Origine's willing to have resets come down from vertical space. Chandonnet. Breton double coverage. Peterson getting position and getting over top of him. Small little signal to the crowd. Right, Shura? Boom. Finding Peterson. Right, Shura is going to put it up. Looking for Siddiqui. And the wind kind of messing with Siddiqui's read on that one. Might have had the sun in his eyes a little bit. I see Chandonnet signaling timeout to his teammates. So I bet Goulet's going to pick this up and call it.
That's a good call. I think everybody looks a little bit tired. Yeah, as you said, that player definitely was looking directly into the sun. I just gave it a little peek to see what that player would have been seeing as that blade was coming in, and it's a big ball of fire.
Oh, yeah, that sucks.
So as much as I think the player did a good job to read to be able to get there, and I think that the throw was the right choice, you do want to put it on that outside shoulder because the defender was on the inside, but still not able to maintain possession of that disc because of the big bright ball in the sky. One thing that I am noticing from both these teams, and maybe we just didn't get to see it a lot yesterday because it was mostly zone, but there's definitely a trend in Ultimate right now to be a little bit more small ball, a little bit more dribbling and handler give and goes. Clay, do you think that that strategy is working for one team more than the other? Because they're both employing it clearly.
I'd say it's working. Yeah, I'm seeing it in two different ways. So I'm seeing Manitoba, and I saw this in their earlier game too. They are so capable of moving the disc laterally, open side to break side constantly with their handlers. They're so good at their dump swing or their swing, whatever you want to call it. Origine, I'm finding it. Maybe I should learn something here. Maybe I'm too set in my ways, but it's interesting watching Origine willing to do small ball, except not so much laterally, but lots of 5 to 10 vertical passes as resets. And there's nobody back often with Goulet, and he's by himself. No one to his left, no one's to his right, but he's got two options coming down either side and getting some separation. So seeing that, it's really interesting.
Yeah, they're playing a different style of offense, so it is quite interesting. It's definitely a different approach, and it's fun to see them kind of work through kind of this flexagon hex type situation.
You sound like a hexpert.
I'm not. Maybe I'll be so at the end of this game.
Giroux finds Chandonnet to Breton, Roberge. Really quick movement by Origine here. I can't keep up. Chandonnet to Giroux. He's now on the break side. A good spot to be. Gives you lots of options downfield. Goulet trying to direct traffic. Seems Manitoba has shifted their force a little bit. Lemarois. Quick break to Goulet. Giroux now looking for options. Origine looking like they're in more of a vertical pod in the middle of the field. Lots of small ball undercuts, as you said, Danny. Chandonnet goes back to Breton. Looks for that swing right away. Doesn't see it. Instead finds a quick inside break. Goulet coming up and
Travel goal?
not sure. It could have been a pick as well.
Because we do see him all by himself. That's always when you can be suspicious. You're like, how did you get free? Or maybe a push off or something.
Yeah. I believe the juniors are calling it sus.
Do they still call it sus, or is that?
I'm old.
You are old.
So resolved, not sure of the count. Chandonnet looking for an option. We'll try and put it in front of Giroux, who's able to muscle his way over Bohm to get that goal. So another hold. We've yet to see our first break.
Now, we see that the Manitoba defense is putting Raichura onto Goulet, which I like that look. Raichura is a really great defender, and it's putting a lot of pressure on them, and it's very clear that this Origine offense is depending a lot on Goulet to be able to distribute the disc.
Yeah. Watching the game earlier versus Vortex, Raichura's one-to-one handler defense was really, really strong. The type of strong where you're like, I hope that guy doesn't check me if I'm handling. Just because he wasn't really giving up anything. It was, I'm going to face guard you. I'm going to play close, and I have a faster step than you. It's just Raichura just sort of dominating in that position.
I mean, you will never mark them because you're Grandmasters players.
No, I'm not.
Aren't you?
No, still Masters.
Oh, I thought most of your team's Grandmasters.
Well, yes. I'm one of the youngins of the old people.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
I take it back.
2 years to go, and then I'll be old enough, which is great to say on a stream.
For all of you that are listening, Clay and I played together a long time ago, basically when I was learning Ultimate, and we got to play on Sky Sharks together, and we were in Victoria hanging out a lot. So if you sense that I'm making fun of him a little bit,
She is.
I am. And it's from love. We are on serve so far in this game. Very, very exciting matchup already.
Origine's pull low, but makes it the way down. But Team Manitoba is going to get a few free passes out here. Van Contesme, not sure if that was for him, and that sails over his head. Origine now just behind the brick with a break chance. Quick movement. Lemieux looking for options. Had it up the line, but he looked it off. Now going to look for his next to break throw around to Dufour. Tremblay looking for options. So a down called and a miscue. It won't matter as it's a turnover. Neufeld. Looking for a reset. He finds Pollitt. Give goes, and it goes off the hands of Howes. But Origine's got some distance to go here as they're on their defensive brick mark. Dufour is going to pick up. Immediately looks for a reset cut, which is actually part of the plan. We see someone go down.
From what I can see a calf cramped. And you can see like, oh, that person has a very large calf all of a sudden. It's probably because it is locked up.
So Noonan will get taken care of immediately by his coach and teammates, which is good news, but we'll just wait for this to pass. I'm sensing the energy, like I'm kind of waiting for it here, Danny, with the crowd and the energy I'm getting from the sidelines right now. I can feel the Manitoba sideline kind of just holding in, ready to explode if they get this break, along with the crowd. So
this would be a hold for Manitoba, would it
not?
not?
Well, okay. Thank you. This is why you're here.
And many other reasons.
And
I'm a good person.
Many other reasons.
I have free time. I love Frisbee.
I want to talking about Manitoba sideline, though, I want to take a moment. I was talking to a player from their team earlier, Joey Cornelson, and I just want to give him a shout out because I was bothering him a little bit for players' names. But then what I also saw is he was carrying the energy and starting the cheers for his team on the sideline. He was telling his teammates, like, hey, look at our opponents right now. They're not into this. Let's rise ourselves up. He didn't put it that way. But, just really getting his team fired up and getting his team involved. So I just wanted to give him a shout out for that energy from him I saw earlier.
That really matters in a game where there's so many turnovers, there's all these conditions. Say you're on a live stream, it's kind of nerve-wracking. In order to have your team bring a lot of energy on the sideline and a lot of unending support, it can be pivotal to the outcome of the game.
So if Manitoba scores,
deep cramp right now.
Yes, indeed. So if Manitoba scores, this will be a hold. If Origine scores, it will be a break.
Our first break of the game.
Yeah, which will be the first break of the game. What was interesting, too, watching the earlier games, there weren't many breaks. It was hold, break, and that's where things got exciting. Both games coming down to universe for each team. Just showing how that offensive work to keep the disc in their hands, keep the O-line doing their job, essentially, was big.
And it's unsurprising to me that even with lots of turns, the O-lines are typically the ones scoring because these teams aren't necessarily as deep as adult club teams. And so you do stack your O-lines. So oftentimes your offensive line might also be your best defenders. So, not always, but they're able to get the disc back, and they're typically playing against a defensive line who don't have as many offensive skills as the other teams, like offensive lines. So even though there are turnovers, we're often seeing holds. So breaks are very, very important.
So if you haven't looked at the stream schedule for the rest of the day, we're doing 3 straight today. So this is the first of 3. We'll have a stream
4
game
straight.
Here. 4 straight. Oh, I'm sorry. Again, this is why you're here. So we're doing 4 straight today.
I love correcting you.
Yeah, it's awesome. So 4 straight today. 10:30, 12:30, 2:30, and 4:30. So you'll get your fill of Ultimate today. Perhaps you're at home watching as a fan on the couch. Perhaps you're like most people I know. You might be working from home. You got 2 monitors for your computer, so you got your work interface on the left, the stream on the right. I'm sure no one does that.
No, absolutely not.
No, absolutely not.
Luckily, I'm allowed to do that with my line of work. I can just say it's business. I'm researching.
You're researching
the next generation of Ultimate players.
Yeah.
All right, Clay, I have a question for you.
All right.
Since this Origine team is playing a more spread offense where they're not necessarily looking for the deep shots as often, unless they're kind of in flow, like once they get it past their first kind of handler core, once they get it past that layer, maybe they'll look for the deep shots. But Do you think that there's some things that Manitoba could be doing to put a little bit more pressure on those dinky throws that they're kind of getting around the handler space?
Actually, yes. So here's my expertise. I'll stop with that pun. But here's what I know. So they are willing to keep forward momentum of the disc moving. And when you play kind of a non-standard vertical or horizontal offense, we're seeing something called hex, where negative space is good, but also moving the disc forwards. And Origine seems keen to, while we're talking about those small throws, they're always forward. The forward momentum of the disc is the goal, right? So I think if I was Team Manitoba, I would say if your player is looking at the thrower and they're shallow, start face guarding. Start getting in front of them and just taking them under and stopping it. And then having someone poach deep to stop the deep shot.
A really bad one.
So for now, fans, just so you know, I've just been informed by observer Sandra that we've stopped the game for now due to an injury, a cramp that is just rather severe. So we're just taking time to help out that Team Manitoba player. We'll take a little break and come back in with you when this is cleared up. So we'll be back soon. And we're back. A rather severe cramp cleared up for a Team Manitoba player. Noonan getting the help he needed from all the staff and coaches and teammates and family we have here, so we're happy to see that. The game had been stopped, so if you're wondering, I got the word from Observer Center that they had stopped the clock, so our cap time for the Horns at the tournament will not be the same anymore, and the teams do have mandated water breaks at certain points of the game that also have been moved, so you might see some gaps between points that you weren't expecting here and there throughout the game. And also, I'll be checking in, or Danny and I will be checking in with the observers to get you exactly when halftime and the cap will be happening, as now this game will run a little bit later out of its time slot if it's quite close and goes to cap.
It's hard to remember who started on offense, but Manitoba was the team starting on offense.
That's right. So this will be a break for Origine if they score. Origine has possession, and we are in. Goulet looking for options, doesn't like the upfield, looks for a reset. Finds Lateng. To 4. Throwing some fakes, finds one up the middle to Bouchard. Goulet now. Quick flip. We saw this a lot in the first game when we were watching, of really quick movement from the handlers and cutters. Just a lot of give goes back and forth. And this was the offense that I saw from Origine, what it looked like earlier. And that big backhand from Goulet came off like a rocket, and it sails in to high up on the back fence. Just putting a little too much mustard on that one, Danny.
I like the look. I think the player was open. Definitely a little bit spicy. Manitoba with a chance to hold.
Neufeld brings the disc to the line. Ben Contesme takes off. He looks off that huck. He's able to find Pollitt, who does a give-go with Van Contesme. Has it back now. They keep working together, showing a lot of speed. That throw from Van Contesme catches the wind and goes over the head of Pollitt, who can't quite make it up to that second effort. The tough one to get. The wind a little unforgiving. 4. Looking for an option in the middle. Elects to go around to Goulet. And Pollitt trying to be there to make the defensive play, but Jacquelin was able to reach up high and grab that. Lateng with an athletic grab and able to laser that in for the goal. I believe that was Dufour with the goal. Yes, it was. And that is our first break of the game.
After kind of an emotional moment for Manitoba, Origine is able to capitalize and punch it in. Now, I just really want Manitoba to poach a bit more. I think that like the style of offense that Origine is playing, they're looking to have their kind of wing players clear and the cutter kind of come into that space. And if they just do a little bit more switching maybe or some poaching, I think that will slow down Origine's offense.
Yeah, it is an early score in the game. And what we haven't seen from Manitoba on defense yet has been a zone. And they did throw it against Vortex in their first game, and we haven't seen them try it yet. And I wonder if that would slow down that forward momentum of the disc that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, I know that Venkatesani had a turn there at the end, but if you were watching earlier in the point, I think their cutting is just incredible. There was a deep strike that was open and then a huge under that was open. And I think the handlers were just not quite looking long enough. And I'm just very, very impressed because I think a lot of times you'll see people making a deep strike, and if they're not hit immediately, they kind of drift or they don't work that hard to come back under, but clearly they want it.
Yeah. Dufour's pull is going to be fielded by Neufeld. Centers to Ritura. Pollitt, wide open. Unfortunate drop. A little bit of an exclamation. Not too happy with himself there. Tremblay. Works in the middle with Mercier. Mercier back to Tremblay. No one in the end zone. Origine keeping that space clear. Now starting to load up players in it. Dufour working for that break. A high count. That dish just goes up and is defended by number 24, Harding. No call. There is a call, excuse me. I thought there was a signal for no call, but it looks like there is a call.
Is it a contested catch, or are we talking about a?
Yeah, Montpetit is now going to inform our observer staff what he thought happened, working it out with Harding.
Oh, potentially like a foul on the reception.
I believe so. And while they work this out, I was informed just by the observer team that 12 minutes have been added to the original time cap. So our hard cap would have gone at 11:55 today, and hard cap will now be 12:07.
The soft cap will be 12:07, and the hard cap will be 12:12. There's no soft.
There's no soft. Hard cap finished the point.
How old am I?
Yeah, so these games, the final will be different, but at the very least in pool play, there is no soft cap. Game's going to hard. So that foul seemingly upheld, so Montpetit will get the disc, but as he didn't have it in his hands, he doesn't get the goal. He gets to bring the disc out to the line and tap it on the ground, and then a stall count will ensue. Neufeld marks up right away. Manitoba trying to get in the way. Valois running out of time. And Pollitt with the pressure, able to get that back. Ritura swings over to Neufeld. Van Katesmi elevates and puts it up. Elevates again. That disc high, caught in the wind. Lots of traffic underneath. Ritura with the catch, but he was out of bounds. His first point of contact, his left foot out of bounds. Valois, quick reset off the line as Origine centers it to Lamarois. Big hawk to Mercier. He jumps, can't quite get himself in the end zone. But after some good communication, finds Montpetit. But we do have a signal for a call. It looks like a foul call. Players are making an X with their arms. They're doing it over their head. A foul is actually a chop in front of you in the X, just to be nitpicky.
Hey, at least they're trying to use hand signals.
I appreciate it. It is very difficult for us over here and many spectators, even for you on the stream, to figure out what's going on when players just start speaking to each other as we can't hear them. So everybody appreciates the hand signals. We know what they're trying to say when we see the X. So, yeah, foul contested or upheld. I'm not sure which, but
definitely a push off probably in the end zone to get free.
Yeah, but Mercier have the disc. The stall is coming in on 4. Dumps it to Lamarois. Showing some patience, looks to his reset, throws a leading pass, and that is gobbled up by Tremblay. Another break from Origine. That's 2 in a row.
You can see the frustration on the Manitoba players' faces, and when they're making some mistakes, they're obviously getting kind of upset, and it's clear that it's uncharacteristic. I know coming off of a universe point loss can be quite tough to rally and bounce to play a team like Origine, who you know is going to be a good program.
So we'll have a 2-minute water break here. We'll stay here, as we've already kind of had an off-air break. But thanks to the heat and humidity, and Surrey and Greater Vancouver is experiencing a heat wave right now, that water breaks have been mandated after a score reaches a certain number. For this game, I think it's, thanks to some of the delays, it's just going to be up to our observers' discretion to find those water breaks. The score is 4-1. Origine extending that 3-point lead with 2 breaks. Sometimes hard to rally off the deficit of 3, but we're hearing a very loud Team Manitoba crowd kicking it up. Oh,
Now we
and
have a
Team
timeout.
Manitoba takes the timeout.
The observers really want us to know everything, and I love that.
I love that too. It's so great for them to communicate with us so we can communicate it to you, the viewers, and have an idea of what's going on. So after that water break, Manitoba deciding they want a little bit longer and take a timeout.
Their O-line was on for 2 points in a row, so I think they're probably trying to give them a bit of an extended rest, have them get some sugar or electrolytes in them to maintain their bodies. As we saw, it's hot out here. You could go down with cramps. We've already seen a couple in this game alone. So Origine, they were feeling good. They've got a lot of momentum in their corner. So right now, maybe Team Manitoba is just trying to slow that down just a little bit. Now, one thing I do want to talk about with Manitoba, Clay, do you think that they're not a new program, right?
They're not a new program. They've been around since, you told me yesterday, I'm going to get this right, 1998.
Absolutely. So they were the reigning champions. They ended up winning last year over Eclipse in the finals. It was a very, very exciting game. It's a very storied program. They have lots of championships, lots of silvers, lots of medals. So maybe not all of these players have been in those games, but the program has, and the coaches have, and they know how to get themselves back into this game.
So after that false start, timeout's over, and Manitoba's taking the field. Origine, one thing I want to say about their D-line, or at least that defensive mindset, when you're coming on D, I know in my experience, Danny, I'm not sure about yours, but I mean, we did play together, so I know you've experienced this, is when a D-line goes out there, makes a defensive play, they get the disc, and then just can't convert.
Yeah.
They make lots of defensive plays, but they never get the break. They never score just because there's an ensuing turnover in offense. As, most of the time, they're spending their time chasing the other team around. The disc isn't in their hands very often. And from Origine today, opposite case. They are very calm, collected, disc skills when they're on defense, which I think is why they've extended this lead so far. And it looks, frankly, professional.
We are seeing a couple players crossing over, which generally does help. But let's look to see if Manitoba can answer back.
That pull, Sadiki's going to pick up as it rolls into the middle of the end zone. And Origine's able to get a defense on immediately. Marshall finds Peterson. Peterson looking for a reset to Ritura. Van Contesme in the middle. Goes back to Ritura. He makes an athletic bid to keep that up. Marshall. There's a wide open Peterson in the middle. Quick flip to Ritura. I thought he was had the forward momentum on that huck. Instead, elects to go for the under to Van Contesme. Sadiki looking for a reset. Ritura jab steps, a little bit of a dance, not there. But he's able to find Daya. Oh, and a big bid by Lemieux, just a little out of reach. Manitoba holds it. Daya looks off Van Contesme. And a quick flip to Ritura as Manitoba marches that up the field, stops the bleeding, getting a hold after getting broken twice, and a little bit of a break. So Manitoba is still in it 4-2 and a 2-point lead. Danny, I want to reflect on something you said in our game yesterday. That's kind of nothing, isn't it?
It means literally nothing in Juniors Ultimate, I tell you. So yesterday we had Vortex women going up quite a bit early on. Manitoba brought it back within 1. It happens. Momentum and emotions are just so prevalent in juniors ultimate. It's why it's so exciting. It's why a lot of people like watching NCAA college basketball more than the NBA, because you see these crazy comebacks where people just like, even when they're down, they still believe that they can win.
So I'm wondering, Danny, as we've talked about a little bit earlier, I want to see a different defensive look from Manitoba here.
Yeah, mix it up.
Yeah, if I put on my I'm the most important tactical decision maker here hat, I'm thinking a zone or a poachy look or some bracketing, some face guarding, something to kind of mess with that forward small ball momentum that Origine has been employing this game.
Maybe even a zone and one, having like one player play exclusively on the main handler of Origine.
Goulet. Quick movement with Giroux and Roberge. Finds a big reset at the open side to Courdeau. Breton, you see him there, like no one on his left or right, and they get that vertical reset, but Giroux can't quite reel that one in. Bohm picks up. Enerson, and then Cornelson. His flip. Grabbed by Enerson. And Friesen makes that catch, and he's out of bounds. Signaled by Roberge, but also the observers. Observers are making active in and out calls for us. So it is their call that is law. So Goulet is going to be stuck here on the forced side as Manitoba elects to force towards us. Goulet's had a big backhand hockey, fakes it, gets his mark off, and is able to find an upfield pass to Arlo. Giroux and Goulet doing that give-go again that they've been showing us all day. Breton has a big cut up the line. A bit in Cornelson. Stopped a big upfield throw, but Origine's able to work it to the middle. Giroux looking for options, finds Breton. And he'll put that up to a wide open Goulet. Origine, just clinical movement with that offense. What we've been talking about, they've just been employing that so well to just keep the defense on their heels.
I've just been informed that the Andrew Batchelor is watching, and he gave some good corrections about the soft cap rule. So if you're curious, just hop into the chat. If you're watching the stream, you can kind of see a little bit more. I'll make sure to say more things for you, Batch, to keep you busy in the chat there.
The real question is, did I get it right?
I didn't really
and is
read
Batch
it.
judging me?
No, I think Batch would be. He was tagging me, so I think it was me being wrong. I think he gets a lot of like satisfaction. So we have a score of 5-2 right now. Manitoba was able to get back up on the board again, but we're not exactly able to slow down Origine's offense.
So, I'm sorry.
It's okay. I absolutely forgive you. But it is quite hard to stop really quick throw and go type movement. Again, I'm going to sound like a broken record. I want to see something different too. I know you said the zone or something like that, but like some poachy, some sluffy, something different.
Yeah, the standard match offense doesn't seem to be getting it done. That pull will sail out of bounds. The wind pushing it quite far, and the wind has been getting stronger as it goes on. Looking at the trees around us, it seems to be coming from the upper left of your screen down towards the bottom right. I have no compass in front of me. But Origine here lining up in a match defense. Manitoba doing a standard horizontal.
It's going to be a slash.
Kind of deep. Yeah, they love that slash, that super tree play to Peterson. Finds House. Pollitt. A quick dish to Van Katesmy. Howe's working hard on a few steps. Makes an athletic grab amongst pressure. But there might be, so looking at the observer signaling, this is interesting. Observers will point at the ground and mark that it's a goal. They'll bring their hands up, and then both arms will go in the air. And if both observers don't put their arms in the air, it's not a goal. And it seemed that one was signaling goal, the other wasn't, and some of the Origine players signaling a foul.
One of the Manitoba players was signaling goal, so doesn't that count?
I have two hands up in the air. Yeah, I guess. But they'll work this out. Mercier pleading his case right now.
That was a nice grab regardless. With pressure, there was not only their defender, but also one of their teammates kind of also in that space when those throws go up and it's in the end zone. It's anybody's ball, so go get it.
Okay, we're going to get an observer ruling on this one, judging by the interactions down there.
Do you have any idea what the call was? I was watching the catch. Do you think it's going to be like a pick or a foul type situation?
I think it was kind of pushing or swimming through the defender as the cut was made up the line based on the body language, using arms to get position on your defender rather than winning with your legs. And when you kind of swim through with your arms and push backwards, you can expect, well, that is illegal. So
it's looking like it's going to be a foul contest.
Yeah, so that will go back to Van Contessamy. All right. Hold on to your cowbells, Manitoba. You may get another chance here. Howells will go up the line. Van Contessamy looking for Ritura. Quick jab step back for the reset. Peterson in the middle. Elects to give go, and travel called against him.
I don't know if I like that call, but
Dufour.
I'm not giving an opinion, but I thought that was a really good give and go. I kind of actually have been wanting them to use Peterson more because of his speed.
Peterson, I would, based on how I was watching, did most of the heavy lifting in the Vortex game, and it was thanks to that speed. So I would like to see that as well. So not sure exactly if that went back or how it was rolled, but Ritura now with the disc. Peterson continues to work in the middle. Neufeld gets open off the front of the stack.
There's a
foul.
Everyone looks confused on the field.
Yeah, I think it. There was actually, from what I can hear, there was just confusion in the signaling. So a signal was given to the observer, and it was a wrong one. So they're just trying to figure out what the call was.
As are we.
As are we. And the disc will stay with Ritura, and the count is coming in at 3. All right. Van Contessamy off the front, wanted that pass. Ritura running out of time. He's able to flip it to McLaren, who rescues him, which is just out of the reach of Pollitt. That sideline coming up too quick. So Dufour is going to pick up. And that disc just forced down by the wind. Not able to be brought in by Valois. Danny, there we saw some under poaching by Team Manitoba. It worked, and then a sky ball goes up, and amongst some contact.
No call.
No call.
I think that's a good no call.
Four, getting his hat in order. Able to do a little cheeky pass around the marks. Valois finds Tremblay in the middle. Dufour now fakes a big huck. Elects to reset the Tremblay. All right, fast count called. And usually the argument after a fast count is you have to drop by 2 stalls.
Which is dropping by 1 number, which
Correct.
is the confusing. So stall 1, stall 2, stall 3, fast count, stall 2.
But that's resolved. Tremblay immediately looking reset. Ends up looking back upfield and puts one up. And that disc caught in the wind. Lots of coverage from Manitoba. Kaz McLaren with the D. A pass to Retur is just too far. He tries to make that bid, but unable to keep that bounce. Tremblay is going to call a timeout. And probably a smart call this close to the end zone after a very long point. You can set something up.
I'm biased.
I know you like, and I'll put this out there, Danny likes it when you take the options you have right in front of you off a situation like that instead of allowing the defense to set up.
And get rested. Right now you have a defensive unit in Manitoba that's exhausted, frustrated, and you're on the doorstep. And now if I'm coaching Manitoba, I'm going to be talking to this line and setting up some sort of poaching, sloughing type situation. But I know the offense of Origine kind of lends itself well to work through that because they kind of have a system. Timeout calls in these situations, but I know it's very common. You do see it a lot when somebody strikes deep, for example, and they catch a huck and their whole team is way behind them. You'll see them call a timeout in that situation because then their whole team can set up now. They can set up in the end zone, but I still don't even like it in that situation. You now have a fast break. You have so much field to work with. You just send one player one-on-one. Golden. We'll see how it works out.
If you ever play on Coach Proby's team, everybody, just remember, timeouts are only appropriate between points. Don't call one.
I need them as a coach. Don't just use them all willy-nilly.
So if I had to place a bet here, I think we're just going to see an up the line or some dancing from Origine here and just try and punch it in close. I don't really sense a reset coming up, but they may try and move it back towards the far side of the field. Pollitt sets up on D face guards to get that poachiness. Yeah, and the classic TC cut in the end zone there, bringing your check backwards momentum and then shifting the other way for that pass at the back cone. Hard for Pollitt to do anything against that. So I believe that was Valois with the goal. And we'll go into another water break.
Clay, I think that you need some water as well. We got to take care of ourselves. It's going to be a long day. Score is currently... Oh, I have the score wrong originally. We have it as 5-3. Sorry, 6-2. I accidentally wrote down the phantom goal that Manitoba had. That was called back. And I am biased. Every time I'm watching a game, I want it to be really close. So I might have just tried to give Manitoba an extra point there.
Well, some of the best streamed games are the ones where you see an epic comeback. And 6-2 could lend itself to an epic comeback. So we'll see. I mean, it's not as if Origine is just taking over out there. We're seeing Manitoba get it right on the brink over and over and just coming up a little short. We're seeing a lot of athleticism out of them, some fast cutting, and just a miscue here and there.
Now, we're not at the point cap for halftime, but it is supposed to be taken after 45 minutes. And I know that we added 12 minutes to the game time, but we should have been in a half type situation at some point. Now, I saw the observers having discussions with both teams, but it does not look like we are doing a halftime right now. It looks like it's going to be next point. I just got some insider information.
Yeah. Papa helping us out here on the sideline.
Now, I could have predicted this might have been the pool of death when doing the previews for this tournament. And it's been very, very exciting. The fact that both these teams already had a universe point game and we have like the reigning champs potentially going to be upset by Origine right now. The game is young.
The game is young.
The game is young.
But I agree. I kind of, after seeing the games this morning, thought this pool's borked.
This is crazy. Crazy.
All right, Origine with the low pull. Manitoba will jump on that to center the disc. So Marshall quickly going to Neufeld. Has Peterson off the front. Vertical offense here from Manitoba. Neufeld looking for options. He'll go back to Marshall. Has Peterson on the open side coming back to help. Who finds Howes. Ooh, and a great grab there by Bohm to keep that alive. Peterson again off the front. Manitoba is seeming stuck at this position in the field vertically right now. Neufeld gets it on the break side. Not seeing a continue from the back or a huck or anything. Seems to be stifling Manitoba a bit. A great layout bid by Lemieux, but Marshall's able to get that back. I did notice earlier, Danny, Origine typically marks deep. They'll stand behind and do last back, even if they're not last back, to kind of stop those huck plays, and that seems to be stifling Manitoba's offense. We've got a short injury by Lamarois going down, and he's quickly helped by opponent Daya up. And Peterson's also going to take a sub, so Ventura can come on.
I would like to still see them making those deep strikes because I think that would give them a bit more separation on their unders. Because I think that the throwers are kind of looking it off because they're not quite seeing enough separation to make them feel comfortable to throw to the unders. So I still would like to see Manitoba stretching the field a little bit more.
Coming in at 1. Centering to Neufeld immediately. Ventura able to get a reset on the open side. He looks for Bohm. Manitoba still stuck back here as Siddiqui looking for options. He'll elect to go for a reset. Manitoba's still retaining possession. If it takes 100 throws, it takes 100 throws. And they're doing a great job of not getting too excited for a risky throw. And now they're making some progress. Bohm needs a reset. Neufeld able to keep his feet in.
Not able to keep his feet
not
in.
able to keep his feet in.
Yeah, the line,
sorry.
it's not the line quite, but it is right there by that cone.
Yeah. All right, Origine here. Got far to work as the wind picks up, and we see it rear its head there as that long throw immediately turns into a blade and is forced down to the ground.
See Manitoba calling horizontal from the sideline, so they're trying to do a different offensive set, probably looking for more slash cuts. I like this look with the backing defense. I think it gives them a few more options.
If you look at Origine's defense, though, look, 1, 2, 3 players behind their checks right now in the cutting lanes, right? Really willing to sit back there and stop the deep play, willing to let Manitoba kind of take all the small ball throws they need to. Neufeld finds Siddiqui. Daya finds Howes. And Howes will put that up.
Great shot.
To Siddiqui. A great shot. Great find.
Great shot. That's a little bit of the energy that this team needs right now. Just a little bit of confidence. They can win those matchups deep if they are making those cuts appropriately. I love that switch to the horizontal. It gives them a lot more room to work that deep space.
A great recognition from the leadership on Team Manitoba to say, oh, wow, we are not getting anything deep happening right now. Let's adjust on the fly. Also, a lot of focus and, frankly, technical skill from junior division players to go, oh, we're shifting our offense this point. We're just going to run it as normal. Yeah, no problem, coach. That doesn't work in Masters.
No,
sometimes.
I know. Sometimes we're like, hey, let's switch to backhand. Everyone loses their minds, Clay. Everyone loses their minds. All right, we now have a score of 6-3. We have Origine leading Manitoba. The game's not over yet. I thought we were supposed to be in a half. Did we just take?
I believe they've said that
natural
half will
half?
be at 7.
They're not doing a timed half.
Yeah, at a point, I think. I'm not sure if they. This is what I don't know. I'm not
But
sure if
it's
they're
just been a long
finishing
time.
the time or if they're adding a point and then you play to that point. So we should probably know these things, eh?
I mean, I know the half cap's supposed to go off at 45 minutes, and this game in theory started 70 minutes ago.
Well, nevertheless, we'll let you know when it's halftime. But all teams are still in this. Both teams, I should say, are still in this. Manitoba showing they're not willing to go away. And they're still going to do the work, have the focus to get goals, and they come screaming down the field right on this pull. Great coverage to stop the initiating play of Origine. Goulet, pivot handler in the middle, seen that. And he'll put up an over the top and should probably thank his teammates for fielding that so well.
Manitoba seems to have a little bit of life right now. They're bringing a lot of intensity on defense. As they ran down the pull, they came down. It was quite intimidating on the handlers right away.
Giroux will put it up. And that is a tough one to catch if you're Bré Ferreira, because that was on his off shoulder and kind of short. So Enerson will pick up. And he'll reset it around to Minish. And a wide open Burrell, but
that was a very, very, very big undercut to start this. And I am loving seeing that. I think that our handlers core on Manitoba either could look a little longer like they did there, or the cutters, if they leave a little earlier, they'll actually be able to hit a few more of these. So that was a great cut by Wong.
Yeah, excuse me. That was Wong in the middle, but the disc is going all the way back to where we started after that turnover. So there must have been a call, and that was actually the second throw in the continue to Wong. So
we're giving the audience at home a lot of rules.
Yes, we are. They seem to be resolved rather quickly, which is nice to see when the rules come up this often. Another reset around to Minish. He'll find Harding. Manitoba getting it up the jam hole here. Elects to huck to that. That throw a little high for Burrell. So Origine a chance to hold. Giroux finds Courdeau to Breton, and he'll go back to Giroux. So again, this really quick offensive handler movement. But now look at this from Manitoba. We're seeing some poaches in the middle. We're seeing them get in the way. This is what we've been looking for, this defensive adjustment. Breton. Manitoba's calling melt. They'll go into a more standard match defense. Papa Demetriou sends it back to Goulet. He'll find Breton. He's looking for a reset back. Doesn't like the luck. And does end up committing to the around. Seeing Goulet as that pivot player once again. Low pass picked up by Breton. He wants that inside, but has an easy open side to Courdeau. And we have a call. I believe it's a pick.
An immediate pick call. And there was at least like half of a signal happening.
Ooh, that pass over Breton's head, but Giroux cleans it up, saves that over Harding, and he'll get into a give-go. High stall count, and Papa Dimitriou and Bruyère-Ferrier in the same place at the same time, sort of put pressure on each other to make that catch.
So 31 making that throw, kind of high stall count, kind of a Hail Mary into the end zone. Did have two receivers there, so it was a good choice. But I mean, I do this too, where when I throw my backhand, I step through because there's a mark there, and my release point is also really far in front. And so oftentimes people end up fouling me. So I think that's what's happening here. They're having a bit of a semi-heated discussion where the player is saying that on Manitoba saying that I didn't move. I had my arm out and you threw your arm into, or your hand into my arm. But the rule is, as a mark, you have to give them the space to be able to pivot, but you cannot initiate contact as a thrower without them.
So
an hour.
Observer ruling, though.
Observer ruling, it was
no foul.
No foul. So that would mean that the player on Origine was stepping into the mark, and the mark was in fact stationary.
So Manitoba gets that turnover, and they call the timeout. What would you like to share how you feel about this timeout?
I feel fine about it. They have one. This is their last timeout before the second half. I think it's fine. Like for me personally, I don't want to use my timeouts unless I have to. They're so valuable. Sometimes as a coach, there's only so many things that you can have impact on the game with, and using timeouts in tactical moments is one of those things. And if you don't have them, it can be really detrimental. Especially like if you're coaching mix, for example, and you have the wrong gender match on, you might need to use a timeout to fix that. So you need to have them in your back pocket. But I'm sensing a momentum shift. I'm feeling like Manitoba's playing with a little bit more confidence right now.
Well, thank you for that professional response to me trying to put you on the spot. And you're right.
You can try again.
No, I don't think I will. Big momentum shift for Manitoba right now. The crowd's in it. They're into it. You see a lot more emotion coming them out right now. I mean, the score in this game is so low, and the lead is not high. So this is just going to be a gritty battle.
This is the longest first half of a game ever. We are playing to 7 to take the half.
So Wong will pick up. Observers making sure that no one moves before it's checked in. Disc is in. And that around dump quickly tossed and off the hands of some Manitoba players, but saved. And Van Contesme is able to put it up for Wong, who started with it, and he makes the catch. So Manitoba runs that back. A huge point for them. Big saves by Burrell there. And Van Contesme finding Wong in the deep end after Wong kind of set up a good mark, I think. So that would be the proverbial bookends, making a defensive play in your end zone, scoring in the other one.
If you were watching this at home and you know these Manitoba players, can you say whether Clay is saying Ven Katasani or is it Ven Katasani?
He told me Van Contesme.
He said you got to say all the A's. Katasani.
I know, but the player came up
all
to
right.
me and told me.
Team Manitoba, if you are listening to this, is Clay saying it correctly or am I saying it correctly? I need a win, so please.
Yeah.
help
We're
me
putting
out.
one ice cream cone on it.
Just one.
I like soft serve from McDonald's standing.
It's always broken.
So the crowd in it, Manitoba.
The cowbell's in it, more
importantly.
importantly.
Origine, I wouldn't say their energy is bad right now. They seem a little bit quieter.
Yes.
But at the same time, the effort and the work you're seeing from their players on the field is still quite high.
So we have a score of 6-4. Origine still leading Manitoba. Manitoba did start the game on defense, though. So after the halftime, regardless of what's happening, they will be starting with the disc in their hands.
So it'll be Daya with the pull. That will sail out of bounds. The wind pushing it to that bottom right corner of your screen. That it is moving from the top left to the bottom right now. So that's no surprise. Goulet is already calling what he wants as he brings it up. And, oh, here we go. Team Manitoba doing more of a poachy thing, getting right in the middle. And just that little adjustment, Danny, messes up Origine's kind of standard offense we've seen today. Pillay, he's able to find Bohm. Little give go, Van Katesmi. Coach saying we need it around, we need it around. That will bounce off of the chest of Marshall. Marshall calls a foul. I think he had his arms out ready to clap it, and then the disc went off his chest, and he kind of lurched forward. I'm thinking he got knocked from behind, perhaps.
That might be the call. The observer's right there. So if they want to use the observer and ask for a ruling, they can, or they can decide on their own. We're pretty far away, so it's hard to tell, but the disc looks like it is going to be going back, so probably a foul contest.
So Ben Katesmi with the disc. Stall count coming in at 6. And some big bids from our angle. Looked as if there were 3 players involved, and by the look of it, one has landed on the other, and there's been a stoppage for an injury. So we'll just wait to see the result of this.
Those are tough throws. There was already 2 defenders in that space. I think if I'm with the disc in that position, I'm going to try to work really hard to get a dump swing off, because if all the defense is there, guess what the defense is not?
Yeah, the jam hole, trying to move it up in 2 yards, a 2x2 box, if you will, of where you have to score. So that's really tough. I mean, but both teams just battling this first half. 6-4, half is at 7, and no team's giving up. They both want this so bad, judging by the way they're playing. So we'll wait and see how this turns out.
More importantly, I've just been informed that somebody in the comments says that I'm always right.
If it's someone,
but I wasn't about half.
If it's someone you've coached, I'm not buying it. They just have to say that. There's a lot of them out there.
There are a lot of them, my minions. There's actually one sitting in this tent right now, scorekeeping, that I've coached before. Shout out to Janice from Vortex. She's saying shout out. Hi.
So no resolution yet to our injury. We're just waiting to see how this goes. Obviously, safety of the players being paramount, particularly in this division.
I think that if you are going to send a throw out like that, I think it's hard. It's hard for me to call a foul in that situation. I think it's almost. I don't know, Clay, have you ever been in a situation where somebody called a dangerous play on the thrower?
On the thrower, no, I've never seen that.
I'm not saying that's the scenario here, but that is something that I've heard discussed recently, and I think that's quite interesting. So if you see 10 players piled up in the end zone and you just float a pass right out in front of them, and like it becomes a dog pile, I think the onus is on the thrower in that circumstance.
Yeah, and I mean, as a tactical decision, it's like, well, if you're going to throw it into traffic, you can't expect there to not be contact, right? So, but it looks as if the observers are getting involved now to discuss the play. It was Dye who made that catch, that bid, I should say, and was down for a little while. He's now holding the disc, and the observers are having a discussion and just informing the coaches of what's going on. So we're just waiting to see. Okay, so it looks as if they had to get Dye's perspective on the foul call. They got it. A call has been made, and now Dye, as it was an injury, is required to take a sub when you call injury, even if you want to stay on after getting
only
hurt.
If there was no contact. If there was an injury because of contact with another player, they are allowed to stay on. But if they just injured themselves tripping, then they have to go off.
Danny's always right.
You heard it here, folks. You heard it here, folks. Now, it looks like the disc is going to go back, ?
Yeah, it'll either – so Richura's come in for Dye. So it'll either – Richura will be picking up, or it'll go back to Van Katesmi. And
Then Katasani.
and we're just
We'll find out soon.
will he appreciate us sticking, to our guns in this one and taking a stand on the stream? We'll find out after this, folks. All right, so Daya's catch ruled a foul, so he did come up with it. Ratura took over for him. He puts one up, and that is brought down by Marshall. A very poignant spike for a break, which brings the game to 6-5. And we still haven't taken halftime.
We did hear the horn, though, and that was not for our field. As we mentioned earlier, we're in a bit of a delay because of the injury that lasted 12 minutes. So our actual end time isn't indicated by that horn. But the fact that we still haven't even taken half yet, bonkers.
Yeah, hard cap for this game is 12:07. The score is 6-5. So not typical to see this sort of thing happening when there is not so adverse conditions, but these points have just been gritty gladiatorial duels. I mean, they just keep going, and both teams are trying so hard that we're at quite a low score.
We are within one, though.
We are within one.
And as sports fans, love to see it. Absolutely love to see it.
So we're within one with about 10 minutes left in the game. Wild.
Do they have to take that full half?
I have
could
no
only
idea.
be 1 or 2 points left, potentially, judging from how long these points are lasting. So.
Yeah, and that's a situation that I don't know. I've never not taken half with cap so close when it's a timed halftime. Yeah.
You take that half.
Absolutely.
If you're not winning, you want to rush it, but you're not allowed to.
So that pole catches the wind. It'll sail back towards half, but stays in bounds. Goulet jogging up, taking his time. Platon to support in the back. We're seeing this fronting by Pollitt on Manitoba in the front to stop that small ball offense, that forward momentum from Origine. Origine adapting right now, just doing some quick passes with 4 handlers back. Giroux's left open. Tremblay is just in the middle to sort of throw a wrench in the defense of Manitoba here, doing a great job just sitting in front of the disc. Giroux looking for options. Breton, not Tremblay. Getting that up to Lamarois. Goulet calling for it to get a free reset. Giroux now in the back with him. Lamarois is going to put that up. And that is kept in bounds by Breton. So a very quick answer. And now I believe we are going to take halftime. We are taking halftime. It is going to be a halftime that is how many? 5 minutes long. So much help from the observers.
And we're going to be having Manitoba starting on offense out of half. So I believe they started on the left-hand side of your screen on defense, and they will now be starting on the right-hand side of your screen on offense coming out of half.
All right, we're going to join you when halftime is over and give you a situation update and how the game could go down in those last few minutes. We'll be back. All right, welcome back, Ultimate fans. Second half
Second
Of-
half-ish.
of our showcase game versus Team Manitoba and Origine from Quebec in our first feature open match. Halftime was just taken due to the halftime cap rules. There are approximately 4 minutes left in this game until hard cap, which is kind of wild, but thanks to how our first half went with just these long points, Manitoba is down 2.
I feel like Manitoba was supposed to be on this other side. I could be wrong, but on my sheet I had them starting on this side of the field in the first half. So maybe I'm
Well-
wrong. Come for me in the comments.
Nevertheless,
Right now, Manitoba's got to
Um,
hold and then break in order to
if-
force universe.
if they hold here, and the cap goes off next point, they could still get a break to keep the game going. The game won't end. Oh, so I'm sorry. You were right. So yeah, that is what they have to do to force universe. But as long as they score this point, they're in business. As long as they score before the cap goes on, they're in business. We will let you know when the cap goes on, as we'll have an indicator right next to us here. That goes off the hands of Marshals. Origine showing some gamesmanship. They're going to pick up the disc and call a timeout. They have 2 per half. Timeouts are, I can't remember, 90 seconds long? 70 seconds long.
Hey, just come hang out with us.
Yeah.
We
Our
have the
server
observers
staff really helping
correcting
us
us
out
all
this
the time.
game. But so Danny, that is 2 70-second timeouts. So you have 2 minutes and 20 seconds to burn in a game that could be over very shortly. We are looking at 12:07 as the cap. I've got 12:06 on my clock. We'll hear the official call from our scorekeepers in a second.
Yeah, Manitoba really needed to honestly just shoot it deep.
Yeah,
They
had
needed to get a quick score.
had to score that pretty instantaneously.
If I'm Origin, I make one more pass and I call another timeout. Remember one time I was coaching at CUCs and I called a timeout within 10 minutes at the end of the game, and I had a bunch of parents telling me that I was cheating.
They didn't like your tactical gamesmanship. So Origine elects to keep playing.
The players stopped
So the
because they heard
cap
a
has
whistle.
gone off. This will be the last point in the game. So the score at this point, a foregone conclusion, but they'll play it out. Plateau elevating to get that disc. Big catch. Origine looking to win with the score, and they do. That is game. Origine 8, Manitoba 5. A wild score for a wild game, Danny. This was a fun one to watch.
That was epic. I think it's same thing happened in the game yesterday, where a bit of a slow start for a team. They kind of get that momentum. They're coming back, but then the original team that started hot was able to just bring back that composure and close it out. This was great. I was so happy to be able to watch this game. I definitely feel for Team Manitoba right now. It's pretty tough to start your tournament with 2 losses, but they're going to have to bounce back, and their tournament is not over yet either.
So we're going to be back pretty quick here in 23 minutes with a women's division pool play game where you will continue to hear the professional insight of Coach Danny Proby, and you will be joined with a different announcer, some guy named Kevin Underhill.
Yeah.
Maybe joining you? Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard of him or not, but
Yeah.
we will be commentating the game, which is Helios Women's, which is like an interior BC team, versus Wicked East from Ottawa, the second team out of Ottawa. So it's going to be a great game. Stay tuned, and we'll catch you on the break.
Bye now.